Welcome back to our channel. So before starting, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for future updates. Every little feature of a tool had a precise purpose when people first started building tools to make life simpler. Nothing they did was by chance or just for show. In truth, the intended use of the product is something you never considered. Here are 15 things you probably didn't realize had a purpose. Number 1. You may have noticed that a lot of denim jeans come with a tiny extra pocket on the side known as the fifth pocket. While millions of people have found thousands of different uses for it, from storing folded up cash to tucking away a stick of lip balm, this small pocket was actually designed with a very specific item in mind, the pocket watch. The fifth pocket was designed to protect their expensive pocket watches by keeping it snugly and safely tucked into place. Number 2. Yes, believe it or not, all of those small metal rivets you have in your jeans have a purpose. They're not just there to make a fashion statement, they are strategically fastened in areas where jeans used to fall apart. In order to keep the work clothes from ripping apart at the seams, they used the rivets where they were most likely to rip to give them some extra life. Number 3. You wondering what on earth the tiny hole in your pen cap was meant for as a child? Even into adulthood, when we bother to notice the little opening in the cap, we still find ourselves distantly wondering what it is doing there. While many have just summed it up to some strange way to keep the ink flowing, there is actually a much more thoughtful explanation. Manufacturers of the pens that are so ubiquitous in our lives understood that small kids would likely end up with these choking hazards in their mouths one day. They took measures to prevent them from suffocating by placing a hole in the cap so that if one were to get stuck in a little one's throat, they could still breathe air into their lungs. Number 4. You may have thought you understood all there was to know about the purpose of a soda can, but chances are you will be surprised to learn about this one. Every can of soda comes with a tab for easy opening of the tasty beverage. While these may come in all sorts of colors and different details on their corners, every single one of them has a fairly large hole in the top. Although this hole does seem to make it easier to get your finger wedged beneath the tab to pop the top on your soda, its intended purpose is actually to serve as a placeholder for your straw. Simply spin the tab around over the opening and slip your straw through. Boom! The grocery cart, of all things we use in our day-to-day life, should certainly be the most self-explanatory, or at least one would think. The manufacturers of these seemingly basic carts are more forward-thinking than we've given them credit for, though. While even our checkers and baggers don't know it, there is a purpose behind those metal loops that frame the top fold-out section of our grocery carts, to hang your bags with light items like bread and eggs from so they don't get smashed among your heavier goods. Do your grocers a favor and show them how it's done next time to make their lives easier. Have you ever had one of those embarrassing moments at a gas pump where you realized you parked your car on the opposite side of where your gas tank is? It's happened to the best of us. So, you'll be glad to know most drivers will share your embarrassment after realizing that our cars have been showing us which side the tank is on for decades. If you pay closer attention to the gas indicator light in your vehicle, you might notice that there is an arrow next to the pump. That arrow is indicating to you which side your fuel tank sits on. Converse shoes have made a huge comeback in popularity over the last decade. Originally designed in the early 20th century for basketball players, the shoes featured two extra holes on the side near the bottom that were identical to the shoelace holes. Over the years many people have assumed that these extra holes are for airflow, or simply a fashion statement. Actually, these two side holes are exactly what they look like, for lacing your shoes. The design was intended to accommodate every basketball player's foot, and the two holes on the side would allow them to customize the fit of their shoes and keep laces from unraveling. Remember the horror of realizing that college-ruled notebook paper meant slimmer margins, and therefore left room for more writing? Well, believe it or not, those margins weren't invented as a guide for how many sentences you could fit onto one page, or even to leave space for note-taking. Manufacturers began to apply margins to writing paper for the purpose of protecting your work. Earlier on in history, rats were a common resident in many people's homes, and one of their favorite snacks was your paper, in addition to everything else they could munch on. Applying wide margins to paper safeguarded against losing important work by leaving blank spaces around the edges for the rats to chew through first, and to protect the writing on the outer edges from general wear and tear. Have you ever asked yourself why the fast food restaurants use such tiny cups for the ketchup and mustard? Based on the amount of fries they serve in even their smallest size container, clearly they are aware that you'll be needing just a little bit more dipping sauce. So then, why the folded paper cups? It all comes down to the purpose of those folds. When you unfold the paper cups, they turn into small paper platters that can hold a great deal more sauce for all your dipping needs. Nifty, right? Have you ever found yourself wondering why keyboard letters are arranged the way they are? Wouldn't it make more sense to have them in alphabetical order? Well, yes and no. The first keyboard ever invented belonged to the typewriter, which operated with mechanical metal arms. Originally, keys were arranged in alphabetical order, but typing that way came so naturally to typists that they would end up typing too fast and the key arms would get cross-wired and stuck. So, for all the classes you took growing up to increase your typing speed, it might pain you to know that people were already fast, and keyboard manufacturers had to randomize the order of keys to intentionally slow down typists to keep the machine running. We haven't changed it back today because, well, we are lazy and hate change. Most pots and pans these days come with handles that have a slim, oval-shaped hole at the end of them. It seems pretty straightforward that these holes are there so you can hang your pots and pans when you store them. On the other hand, many of them come with a metal ring looped through the hole which is meant for hanging, and the irregular shape of the hole in the handle doesn't fit too well on most hooks. That's because the true purpose of the hole on pan handles is to hold the handle of most stirring spoons. This way the spoon end hangs directly over the pot and minimizes the mess from cooking. The design of the headrest is pretty upfront. They are made to be adjustable to comfortably support anyone's head, no matter how tall or short. While this makes sense, why make them completely detachable? The answer has to do with survival. When you pull your headrest completely out of the seat, it has two sturdy, long metal bars that come to a dull point. If you ever find yourself trapped inside your car and need to get out quickly, you can detach your headrest and use the metal bars to smash out your window. The deep ridges or threads on audio jacks aren't just there for a tighter fit when plugged in. These bands are made of an insulating material used to protect the wires while the sound is being transmitted. Additionally, the number of bands indicates which end goes where. 3 bands equate to 1 band per left and right ear, and the third band for grounding, and should be plugged into the stereo or amplifier, while 2 bands indicate the end that plugs into a device. If you spend a lot of your time flying, then chances are you've rolled over the possible uses for the tiny hole in your airplane window a time or two before. The small opening at the bottom of the window actually serves 2 purposes. First, it allows airflow through to keep from too much pressure building in the plane and busting the window as it rises in altitude, and second, it is a clever way to keep the windows from fogging up with all the warm breath of the passengers. If you are an avid iPhone user, then you will have already noticed the tiny black dot between the lens and flash on the back of your iPhone. Contrary to many strange suggestions, this black dot is really a third microphone. It serves the purpose of providing superior sound quality by eliminating background noise and also takes better sound when recording video in a crowded place like a concert. Do you know any amazing everyday things that has purpose to it? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching.